going to give you a guide on how to make America great again by granting women's rights in all professional sports. Now, I'd say a good start to this video is going back in time to the era of Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King was one of the best female tennis players in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. She first encountered inequality at the age of 12 while participating in the tournament at Los Angeles Tennis Club. It was 1955 and Billie Jean was barred from a group photo of junior tennis players because she had decided to wear tennis shorts that day, rather than the traditional tennis skirt worn by the female tennis players. She soon learned that the female athletes' experience wasn't only regulated to just dress code. In the 60s and 70s, the tournament payouts for women tennis players were significantly lower than those received by the male players. In 71, Billie Jean became the first woman athlete to earn over $100,000 in prize money. Yet when she won the U.S. Open in 72, she received $15,000 less than the men's champion Ion Nastase. She said, "Unless I was number one, I wouldn't be listened to." She began to campaign relentlessly for equal prize money in the men's and women's game. Joining 8 other tennis players, Billie Jean signed a $1 contract and joined the Virginia Slim Circuit founded by Gladys Heldman in 1970 to protest against the inequity in prize money. This group of brave women, known as the Original Nine, backed Billie Jean as she formed the Women's Tennis Association and became its first president. In 73, she lobbied for equal prize money for men and women at the U.S. Open, and as a result of her efforts, a sponsor was found to level the playing field. As a result of her advocacy, the U.S. Open became the first major tournament to offer equal prize money to both sexes. Now, was she an inspirational woman or what? If you got even the slightest bit emotional during that segment, just wait and see how gender inequality is still in play in today's day and age. Now, let's talk about the pay gap in women's sports. Soccer is a fun game played by all, but how fun can it be when you're not earning the same amount of money that your male counterparts are earning? 60 Minutes interviewed 4 professional players in the women's professional soccer team: Carli Lloyd, Hope Solo, Brandi Chastain, and Morgan Bryan. Carli Lloyd says, "We feel like we're treated like second-class citizens because they don't care as much about us as they do the men." Carli Lloyd is considered the best female soccer player in the world and captains the U.S. soccer team. The team is made up of the best female soccer players from around the country, and for 25 years they've ruled the world. In 1999, when Brandi Chastain scored to beat China in the finals of the World Cup, her celebration announced the beginning of a new era in women's sports. Carli Lloyd says, "We're America's dream team, and we've been at the forefront. We've been at the top, and I think the #1 team in women's sports history." Outspoken goalkeeper Hope Solo was on the team for 19 years. She says, "Time and time again, we asked that we wanted to be paid equally to the men." Globally, men's soccer is undeniably more popular and profitable than the women's game. When Germany won the World Cup in 2014, FIFA, the sport's international governing body, awarded them $35 million. A year later, when the U.S. women won the Cup, the U.S. Soccer Federation received $2 million. Hope Solo says, "There's 2 different pay structures. The men get paid per game. Whether they win or they lose, they get paid. The women were on a salary-based contract." It's a pay structure that the women themselves wanted and agreed to in 2005 and again in 2013. A consistent salary of up to $72,000 a year and bonuses for wins of $1,350. They also get health insurance and maternity leave. The men enjoy no guaranteed salary and fewer personal benefits, but they can make as much as $17,625 for a win. We wanted to compare the 2 of the top players. Salaries vary, but in 2015, Hope Solo was paid about $366,000 in total by U.S. Soccer. In 2014, also World Cup year for the men, Team USA goalkeeper Tim Howard was paid $398,495. She played in 23 games for the U.S., and he played in only 8. Hope Solo says, "When you break it down per game, I think it's about 3 times as much." Rich Nichols, their lawyer, says, "We want the same money that the men are making." Exactly. That's $5,000 minimum. That's that $8,000 bonus if you tie a game, and the $17,625 if you win. We want equal money. Morgan Bryan says, we have to win and perform in order to even make $1,350. Carli Lloyd says, "We win, we're successful, and we should get what we deserve." Last year, the top female players did make more money from U.S. Soccer than the men's team. Their lawyer, Rich Nichols, says that's only because they played and won more games than the men. Rich Nichols says, when you subtract the bonus money that these women made in 2015, they're probably making $72,000, $70,000, $80,000 a piece. Nora Donald, the interviewer, says, so you mean had they not been winning, they would not have made anywhere close to what the men made? Did you know that the women travel to games and coach while the men travel in first class? Carly Lloyd says, this is history we're making, what we're doing, what we're fighting for. It not only resonates with this team and with generations to come, but it's global as well. But that's not all. There is more inequality coming your way. But first, let's see what a couple of American citizens have to say about women's equal rights in sports. I asked two people what their thoughts were, a young girl who has dreams of becoming a pro tennis player and a future human rights activist. Hi. So I'm here to interview you about your thoughts on women's equal rights. Okay, let's start. It's 15 questions, and you should just answer them as best as you can.
Best as I can, okay.
Question number 1. From your point of view, do you think girls should be able to participate in any professional sport of their choice?
I think so. I don't think girls should be discriminated just because they're fragile or not good enough, or they should be in the kitchen making sandwiches.
Okay. Do you think women should be given the same rights as men in whatever sport they choose to play?
Yes, I do, especially with the pay gap.
What do you want to do for a living?
For a living, I want to be a professional tennis player.
What made you want to do that?
Well, I started playing tennis when I was about 5 or 4, and I just really liked it. And I saw Serena Williams, and I was like, that's going to be me someday.
What prior knowledge do you have about that living?
Well, I know that in any sport, women don't get paid enough, but I'm not going to be like Martin Luther King or anything, but I'm going to talk to the president. I'm going to talk to everybody to try to get the right equal pay, because we're all human. Other knowledge I have on that is just that tennis is really fun. It's not like tackle sports like football and soccer. It's calm, competitive, and cool.
Okay. Are you familiar with the pay gap between the men and women in the sports industry?
Several $1 million.
Did you know that female tennis players earn 80 cents on each dollar that the men earn, and that the median pay gap between a woman in the top 100 and her opposite number on the men's tour is $120 and $126,000 $124,000?
I did not know that, but that should be fixed.
What is your favorite women's professional tennis player?
Serena Williams.
Interesting choice. Did you know she only was awarded $495,000 when she won her tournament, while Roger Federer was awarded $731,000 when he won his?
I knew that.
How do you feel about the pay gap?
I feel that I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It shows that America is still just as racist and as sexist as it was when it started.
Do you play any sports at school, or are you interested in playing any sports?
Well, I'm in 6th grade, and we can't play sports in 6th grade. But in 7th grade, I plan to try out for track because that's my second favorite sport, and I plan to do volleyball.
How do you feel that female volleyball players are perceived, and why don't you think there are more men playing professional volleyball or even participating on volleyball teams in their schools?
Because first off, not many schools have a men's volleyball team, and second of all, volleyball is known as a girls' sport, but it really isn't and can be played by anybody.
One main reason people feel that women should not be able to participate in sports traditionally played by men is because they believe that men are naturally more faster, stronger, and athletic. Do you think this is true?
I do not think so. Science has proved that many, many women are faster, many, many women are stronger, many, many, many women are smarter, more intelligent, more confident. All men have are the people standing up for them even when they're not doing anything. And women, they just have to push and push and push.
And push.
Mhm.
Overall, how do you think women are treated in the sports industry compared to men?
I think, let me use like a similar metaphor. I think the women, they're like children. The men are adults. The men get more attention, more responsibility, and the women are just down there like, oh, you're so cute. You can't do anything yet, but you're just getting started.
Okay, how do you think we are helping resolve this problem now?
Well, women are still fighting for their rights. Some men are still fighting for women's rights. I don't think the government is doing anything yet, but I'm just a child. I don't know. But, when I grow up, I might just start a protest. I might just start an activist group because what's happening right now is not fair.
Okay. After knowing all this information, are you still going to pursue the dream of becoming a professional women's tennis player?
Of course. I mean, I like tennis. I'm going to do whatever it takes, even if it means I get paid $1 million and David Bogovich gets paid $50 million. $1 million is still enough for me to buy a house, make a living.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Most of you have heard about the traditional game of powder puff in most public schools every homecoming season. If you're not, well, powder puff. Powder puff football games are flag football or touch football games between girls from junior and senior classes or crosstown school rivals. Now for my 2 cents. Powder puff is a step backwards for women. The very name undermines gender equality efforts. It is a reference to women powdering their faces. It implies that girls are delicate beings who would rather spend all day putting on makeup and being in the house than it does for fierce competition and athleticism. In April 2017, Becca Longa became the first female football to sign a letter of intent at the college level to play for Adams State University, according to the LA Times. Powder puff is degrading to the fact that it makes girls' participation in sports a spectacle. It pushes forth the expectations that girls should be subservient and should be expected to not have interest in breaking the gender binary. The problem with the powder puff is that it never truly allows women to break the expected social binary. At the end of the day, boys are still in authority in the situation, as coaches or just simply to offer their 2 cents. And girls still fit into the expected roles and stereotypes. Powder puff portrays girls as at a biological disadvantage to their male counterparts. It portrays girls as inferior and is sexist pageantry. Now, before you start defending your beloved game of powder puff, let me just say that I am not bashing the game. I'm sure that it's all fun and games, but just keep in mind all the negative factors it has on women's not so equal rights. I guess now is the time that I should stop ignoring the ginormous elephant in the room. The most obvious reason why most people think women should not be granted all the same rights as men. Because they are just not physically able, right? Wrong. Men's sports are going to seem more exciting. They have higher production values, higher quality coverage, and higher quality commentary. When you watch women's sports and there are fewer camera angles, fewer cuts to shot, fewer instant replays, yeah, it's going to seem to be a slower game. And it's going to seem less exciting. Women's sports that are identified to men's sports, soccer and basketball, for example, will never be popular because men are faster, stronger, and more athletic. On the other hand, sports that highlight the different strengths of female sports, such as tennis, gymnastics, and ice skating, are popular. None of those are team sports, so there may be something there. When the Olympics come around, winter and summer, I enjoy the women's and men's events pretty much equally. The women may be running, swimming, or even skiing slightly slower than their male counterparts. But I can't really tell, and it's just as exciting. For some reason, however, when it comes to team sports where I'm used to watching them, that slight difference in physical ability becomes glaringly obvious, and I just can't stay interested in the woman. Wow. What inspirational insight from such ignorant people. Let's say it is scientifically proven that men are physically stronger than women. But I think that women are emotionally and mentally much more stronger than men, because they have to put up through the sexist and barbaric views that society has put on them, and they've been through obstacles, which makes them much more stronger. Men's egos are also a main factor that gets in the way of women trying to reach their potential success. Men think that they are just so much better than women because of their physical strength, right? Wrong. Men think that women are incapable of doing the things that are supposed to be done by men, such as changing a tire or cutting the grass. Who says that a woman can't do those things? And let's say they can even do it better. Society most likely thinks of women as beings that should just stay in the kitchen or take their kids to school or pick up the groceries, cook and clean. Those are tasks usually done by women. And it's just sad to see how men are supposed to be the alpha male and women are just supposed to be their cheerleader cheering them on. I want to see if those roles can be reversed. Inspirational women such as Serena Williams, Rachel Ray, or even Billie Jean King have been through the obstacles and have overcome a lot of negativity. And those are the women that men should actually be looking up to and trying to be like, instead of trying to outweigh women by trying to prove that they are better than them in any way, shape, or possible. Alrighty then, let's look into how the government is helping resolve this issue. In 1972, Congress passed the Educational Amendments. One section of this law, Title IX, prohibits discrimination against girls and women in federally funded education, including in athletics programs. 55% of the post-Title IX generation participated in high school sports, compared to 36% of the pre-Title IX generation. But the progress women and girls have made under Title IX falls far short of gender equity. From the start, the implementation of Title IX has been subverted. Title IX passed with little controversy in 1972. Soon after Title IX passed, however, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA, and high school administrators complained that boys' sports would suffer if girls' sports had to be funded equally. Because the federal government has not strongly enforced Title IX, women all over the country have been filed civil rights complaints and lawsuits against their colleges and high schools in order to force their institutions to implement gender equity. These lawsuits and complaints have been quite successful. Since 1990, hundreds of lawsuits and civil rights complaints have been filed under Title IX and state equal rights amendments, charging gender discrimination in sports in high schools and college. Most of these have been resolved in favor of women, resulting in women's teams being reinstated that were scheduled to be cut, women's club sports being upgraded to varsity status, and women's coaches receiving equal pay. Title IX has been used by women athletes at Brown University as well. Following the decision by the athletic department to cut 2 men's and 2 women's sports from their varsity roster, the women gymnasts took Brown to court. The students argued that the 2 women's teams combined cut $62,000 from the women's sports budget, while the 2 men's teams only amounted to a $16,000 detraction from the men's budget. These cuts were even more enraging because Brown was already in violation of Title IX. The students' argument has prevailed in both the district and appeals court. Brown University may appeal the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Brown case has gone farther in court than any other Title IX case. You may think I am biased because I'm a woman speaking out on women's rights, but on the contrary, I'm a human speaking on what I think is right. A woman is a human. She's not better wiser, stronger, or even more intelligent, more creative, or more responsible. Likewise, she is never less. Equality is a given, because a woman is a human. By Vera Nazarian. Thank you.